Hello and welcome back to another reaction video. So we are going to watch 20 minutes of WWE facts you didn't know. So without further ado, we're about to hop straight into this video. So let's watch right now.
If you look at the WWE roster, you'll notice that almost all the wrestlers have clean-shaven bodies, including the men. There are a few reasons why wrestlers don't have any body hair. One is muscle definition. Wrestlers want to look their best, and having no hair allows their bodies and muscles to pop and stand out. Another reason wrestlers don't usually have body hair is for safety. When a wrestler has hair, they run the risk of it getting caught on something or creating a rash. One other reason wrestlers do this is to respect their opponent. Bacteria can build up in hair and create body odor, which can happen fast since wrestlers sweat so much. No one wants to be put in a headlock or another close contact move by someone who smells bad, so out of courtesy, wrestlers shave their bodies.
Shave off that taco meat.
We see wrestlers carrying around the Money in the Bank briefcase often, but we rarely see what's actually inside of it. We all know that the person who wins Money in the Bank receives a contract for a WWE Championship match at any time and any place. But is that what's really in there? Well, in 2010, when The Miz was Mr. Money in the Bank, the briefcase accidentally opened. It turns out that WWE actually doesn't keep anything inside of the briefcase, not even a protected
How did he play that off?
If you notice this on a WWE wrestler's body, it means they are probably taking steroids. These pimples and acne are often a side effect of steroid use. No one knows exactly why this happens, but a theory is that steroids contribute to the body's production of immune system receptors, which leads to acne breakout. Since wrestlers usually don't cover their bodies, it's very difficult to hide an acne outbreak. Around the time Jinder Mahal became WWE champion, his body had undergone a drastic change, and he looked very different compared to how he did less than a year earlier. Additionally, he started having noticeable pimples on his back, leading fans to speculate that Mahal had been using steroids. A wrestler quit WWE because he couldn't afford to work for them. While big-name wrestlers can make a lot of money, less popular wrestlers don't make nearly as much. Additionally, wrestlers have to pay for the majority of their travel expenses, like the hotel they stay at, the rental car they use, the food they eat, and more. This can get really expensive, and a wrestler named Super Crazy quit WWE because of it. Crazy lived in Mexico and was only getting paid $500 for each show he was on. Because of all the expenses and the amount he was earning, Super Crazy realized he couldn't afford to keep doing this and quit WWE. WWE
That's really sad.
Are not what they used to be. Traditionally, WWE's title belts had snap buttons to connect them around a wrestler's body. However, more recently, WWE has switched to using Velcro. The reason is to make it faster for wrestlers to put their championship around their waist. Additionally, Velcro also makes it easier for any wrestler to wear a championship, regardless of their size. Unfortunately, the Velcro does make the titles kind of look like toy replicas and not the real deal. After winning the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 9, Hulk Hogan went to wrestle in Japan. He had the championship with him during a press conference and said this.
This belt is just a toy. It's like a trinket on a Christmas tree, like an ornament. The belt that I want is the one that the great Muta has, the IWGP belt.
Hogan didn't think the fans in the US would hear these comments, but about a month after disrespecting the WWE Championship, the Hulkster lose the title to Yokozuna. Before becoming a wrestling legend, Booker T was
I
a
like the
criminal.
belt with the
By age 13,
buttons on it.
Booker
Now
lost
that I'm
both
looking
of his
at it.
parents. He started working at a Wendys restaurant to support himself and his siblings. Money was still an issue for Booker T, so he decided to rob the Wendys that he worked at. He got away with it and ended up committing over 20 armed robberies at different Wendys locations. Booker and his accomplices wore their Wendys uniforms during the robberies, so police eventually figured out that it was someone who worked at the restaurant who was committing the robberies. Booker was arrested at the age of 22 and spent a little over a year and a half in prison. As he was leaving the prison, a police officer looked at Booker T and said, "I'll see you when you get back." Not only did Booker never go back to prison, but he also became a multi-time world champion and eventually a WWE Hall of Famer.
Wow.
The government once thought a WWE storyline was
That's
real.
a crazy
In 2020,
turnaround.
The U.S. federal government was working on a series of public service announcements that would educate citizens about the COVID-19 pandemic. They wanted to include celebrities to help promote the message, and one person being considered was Ronda Rousey. However, the government wasn't sure about including her for a few reasons. One of them was because they believed that Rousey was arrested at a WWE event in 2019. The incident happened on Monday Night Raw when Ronda Rousey, along with Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, were arrested when they got into a fight. The entire thing was part of a storyline, and no one was actually arrested. In October 2021, Big E
They
appeared on
don't
the
know how
radio
it works
show
over here.
Breakfast Club. While talking, Big E said this.
There's a certain level of trust you have with someone and what we do, because it is entertainment. And I have to trust that you're not going to dump me on my head and break my neck.
A little over 4 months after saying this, Big E would be dropped on his head and break his neck after taking a belly-to-belly suplex from an opponent. Thankfully, Big E's spinal cord was not damaged and he would not need surgery. Becky Lynch
He
and
just
Seth
bounced
Rollins
off
bring
his
their
head like
one-year-old
that.
daughter with them everywhere they go, including WWE shows. Becky revealed in an interview that during an episode of Monday Night Raw, she opened the show, then went backstage, put her daughter to bed, and then went and did guest commentary. Lynch also said that while it is tough traveling with a baby, it makes everything more rewarding and fulfilling. A WWE fan was tricked into selling his home. Someone made a fake online account pretending to be WWE star Liv Morgan. The imposter contacted a Liv Morgan fan and claimed she needed money. The fan thought it was real, and he ended up selling his house. After that, the fan messaged the real Liv Morgan, where he sadly found out that he had been tricked and had lost
dumb.
everything
That's
to a
your fault.
scammer. When
That's
Hulk
your
Hogan
fault.
was becoming popular
What?
in the 1980s, his manager, Jimmy Hart, suggested
I don't
he wear
feel
red and
sorry for
yellow.
you.
When Hogan asked why, Hart said those were the same colors as the McDonald's restaurants, and they were all over America. Hogan agreed, and he soon became known as the Real American. One of WWE's most iconic events, the Royal Rumble, almost never happened. The idea of the Royal Rumble match was first pitched in the 1980s by Vince McMahon's right-hand man, Pat Patterson. McMahon hated the idea and called the match stupid. Later, WWE needed an idea for a special show that would air on NBC. McMahon jokingly told Pat Patterson to share his Royal Rumble idea with the NBC executive, Dick Ebersol. To Vince's surprise, Ebersol loved the idea, and the first Royal Rumble match was held in 1988. Fans loved it as well, and the Royal Rumble became a yearly event. After AJ Styles won the WWE Championship, Vince McMahon told him, "I wish I hired you 10 years ago." A Reddit user named Dat Zookman theorized that this is more than just a compliment. Since making his WWE debut in 2016, Styles has had matches with Randy Orton, The Undertaker, Edge, and John Cena. If AJ was part of WWE in 2006, these are the people he likely would have been feuding with. Perhaps Vince McMahon is trying to make up for lost time by having AJ Styles compete with these men now. WWE Hall of Famer Sting nearly died in 1997. On Monday Night Nitro, Sting rappelled from the rafters for the very first time. Moments before that happened, Sting was told to step over the railing and be prepared to jump down. Just then, the stunt crew realized that Sting's gear was on backward and they had to fix the rope while Sting was standing on the edge. The icon revealed in an interview that had he jumped, he would have fallen to his death. Many fans have accused Stone Cold Steve Austin of wasting beer because most of the alcohol landed everywhere but his mouth. Steve Austin had two reasons for why he did this. One is that he was trying to entertain people, and seeing him take a small, clean sip of beer would have been boring. The other reason is that he didn't want to become intoxicated while in the ring, since that could put himself and the wrestlers he was working with in danger. The police report for Owen Hart's death has some bizarre and disturbing
I really believe
details.
that was
In one of
beer.
the documents, a
I
woman
never
named
even
Sharon
considered
Kennedy, who was
that.
in the crowd the night Hart
was,
died, contacted the police. She says that she saw another woman at the show who was using binoculars the entire evening and was watching the catwalk at the top of the arena, the area where Owen Hart fell from. According to Sharon Kennedy, after Owen Hart fell, the woman with the binoculars said he did not fall accidentally, someone pushed him. Additionally, before Owen Hart's fall, Kennedy says that the woman was talking and believes that she knew that Owen Hart was up there and even described the costume he was wearing. What makes this strange is that WWE did not tell fans that Owen Hart was supposed to descend from the rafters. In the mid-80s, Jimmy Hart began managing Bret Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart, but they did not have a name for their group. Then, while wrestling at a show, the three men saw a kid in the audience holding a sign that said, "Jimmy Hart's Hart Foundation, next tag team champions." They all thought that was a great name, so Jimmy, Bret, and Neidhart began calling themselves the Hart Foundation. The group would have various incarnations over the years, and the Hart Foundation became one of the most legendary factions in WWE history. In 1995, Owen Hart pulled a legendary prank on Vince McMahon. At the In Your House 5 pay-per-view, Triple H fought Henry Godwinn in a hog pen match with real pigs. Before the show, the pigs were being dropped off at the arena. The person delivering the pigs was wondering where they needed to go. Owen Hart overheard this and had them put the pigs in Vince McMahon's office. When McMahon opened the door, one of the pigs came running out, and Vince instantly knew he'd been pranked by Owen. A WWE fan once tried to send Michelle McCool to prison. McCool revealed on the Wives of Wrestling podcast that while driving home one day, a police car started following her. When she arrived at her home, 3 officers were there. They asked Michelle McCool if her husband, The Undertaker, was home. Thankfully, the Phenom was home, but had just taken a shower and walked out in his towel. The police officers revealed that they had received a 911 call claiming that Michelle McCool had killed The Undertaker with a sledgehammer. Did WWE lie about receiving terroristic threats? When the Gulf War began in the early 90s, WWE is said to have one of its most patriotic wrestlers, Sergeant Slaughter, become a villain by being an Iraqi sympathizer. Slaughter eventually began feuding with Hulk Hogan, leading to a WWE Championship match at WrestleMania 7. The event was held in the Los Angeles Sports Arena, but was originally planned to be held in the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. WWE has said that the reason for the change was because they were receiving bomb threats from people who were mad that Sergeant Slaughter was supporting Iraq. It is true that in real life, Sergeant Slaughter was receiving threats from fans. However, some people think the claims of bomb threats were made up. Supposedly, the real reason WWE switched from the 100,000-seat Coliseum to the 16,000-seat arena was that they were having trouble selling tickets. Instead of performing in a mostly empty venue, the company decided to downsize. To avoid admitting they couldn't sell tickets, WWE said it was due to safety. The other part that makes WWE's claim hard to believe is that this would mean that patriotic Americans want to bomb their own country. WWE almost got sued by the Olympics. When Kurt Angle made his WWE debut in 1999, his finishing move was the Olympic Slam. The actual Olympics were made aware of this and threatened to sue WWE because they owned the word Olympic. WWE complied, and Kurt Angle's Olympic Slam was renamed the Angle Slam. Before he was signed by WWE, Kane made no money as a wrestler. The amount he was getting paid to wrestle usually wouldn't even cover the gas he needed to drive to the shows he's performing at. One time, he didn't even get paid in cash. The promoter gave Kane 2 buy one get one free double cheeseburger coupons at Burger King. After he stopped wrestling full-time and took a corporate job with WWE, Triple H decided to cut his iconic blonde hair. There were a few reasons why he did this. The first was to save time, since he would have to make sure his hair was looking clean and professional every day. Another reason Triple H cut his hair was so that he'd look more corporate when he appeared on TV, since his on-screen character was also the COO of WWE. Longer hair on a man could symbolize rebelliousness, and since Triple H was now supposed to be a corporate authority figure, a shorter haircut made much more sense. Seth Rollins once got in trouble for using an ice pack. Shortly after Rollins began wrestling on WWE's main roster, he had just finished a match and put an ice pack on his neck after he got backstage. John Cena saw this and asked Rollins how many matches Seth had wrestled on the main roster, to which Rollins said 3. The reason Cena asked this is because new WWE wrestlers aren't supposed to use ice packs. Likewise, Summer Rae also got called out by Randy Orton for icing her foot when she was new. The reason newcomers aren't supposed to use ice packs is that it's believed they shouldn't need them after only wrestling WWE for a short while. How much money do WWE wrestlers get from their merchandise? Wrestlers get a 25% royalty on all their merch sales. That sounds like a lot, but that 25% is only on the profit, not the total cost. According to former WWE wrestler Ryback, he said that wrestlers usually only made about $1 on a $30 t-shirt. Additionally, if there are multiple wrestlers on a shirt or piece of merchandise, then the 25% is split among all the wrestlers evenly. However, bigger name wrestlers like Brock Lesnar can negotiate a higher percentage of merchandise sales. For less popular wrestlers, they pretty much have to accept whatever WWE offers them. WWE wrestlers hate
I got my face on this shirt and I'm only getting $1?
Pay-per-view events, wrestlers who competed on the pay-per-view would get a percentage of the money people paid to watch the event. Additionally, when the pay-per-view events were released on DVD, wrestlers would also get a cut of the DVD sales. However, in 2014, WWE's pay-per-view events started being streamed on the WWE Network, which later became part of Peacock. Since the pay-per-view events were no longer actual pay-per-views, wrestlers didn't get a cut of the money generated by these events. John Cena credits The Rock for his success as an actor. Back in 2014, Cena was auditioning for a role in the movie Trainwreck. John Cena was nervous because he had never been through something that rigorous. The leader of the C Nation decided to give The Rock a call and asked him for advice. Rock told John Cena that the casting director chose Cena for a reason and to just be himself. Cena said that helped him calm down and allowed him to act more naturally. John Cena ended up getting the part and has had a ton of success in Hollywood. Charlotte
I've
Flair's
never watched a John
ex-husband
Cena movie.
sued her and her father, Ric Flair.
That's
Charlotte
no
was
shade.
married to a man named Ricky Johnson from 2010 to 2013. In 2017, Charlotte and Ric Flair released an autobiography called Second Nature. Charlotte revealed that she left Ricky Johnson because he allegedly abused her. Johnson then filed a lawsuit against his ex-wife and her dad, saying that the allegations made in the book weren't true. The legal battle ended with both parties settling out of court for an undisclosed amount of money. One of the most famous WWE moments is when DX invaded a WCW show. However, it was filled with lies. Triple H said that WCW was giving away free tickets to fill their shows. WWE's camera crew even showed a sign advertising free admission. However, the WCW show had been sold out for weeks, and the free admission sign was for a different event. WCW included this in a lawsuit they filed against WWE in 1998 that was ultimately settled out of court. Shawn Michaels
So
paid
shady.
$750,000 a year for 4 years to do basically nothing. At the 1998 Royal Rumble, Shawn Michaels injured his back and soon had to retire from wrestling. While he would make appearances on TV from time to time, Michaels was not used often in WWE. Former WWE commentator Jim Ross revealed that despite not doing much, WWE still paid HBK $750,000 a year.
We paid Shawn $750,000 a year for about 4 years.
Oh
to do
my
nothing.
God.
Part of the reason was that Vince McMahon valued Shawn Michaels so highly. The other reason was to prevent
Oh,
Shawn from
wow.
joining WWE's competitor, WCW. This ended up paying off for McMahon because, in 2002, Shawn Michaels returned to the ring. Shawn wrestled for another 8 years and had some of the greatest WWE matches of all time. If you watch just about any WWE show, it looks like they are
4
always
years
sold
and you getting
out.
paid
However,
that
if
to
you
do
see videos
nothing?
taken by fans, you'll notice that there are sometimes a lot of empty seats. At the 2022 SummerSlam event, WWE said the attendance was 48,449, but reports say that the actual number was closer to 35,000. When they can't fill an arena, WWE will have all the fans sit in one section and only show that part on camera to give the illusion of a packed building. However, videos and pictures from fans will show how full the arena actually was. Daniel Bryan stood up for himself and almost got in trouble. Shortly after he made his WWE debut
You know what
in
I need to
2010,
see more
Daniel Bryan
of?
was
Because of that video I did, I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, I need to see more like videos from the audience, because the camera footage, the cell phone footage that people was recording on their phone or whatever reveals a lot of things that, of course, you know, they don't want to pick up. The WWE camera people don't want to pick up, but if you watch a lot of like footage from the audience that they capture, it reveals a lot, and that video showed me that. And then this video shows that too, like it wasn't even packed out like that. It's all an illusion. That's crazy.
at an airport for his flight. Ezekiel Jackson, another WWE wrestler who had been there longer than Bryan, told Daniel he was taking Daniel's seat on the plane because it was nicer than his. Normally, newcomers to WWE are supposed to give up their seats to veteran talent, but Daniel Bryan didn't. Bryan said he would have gladly given up his seat to Ezekiel Jackson, but since Jackson asked so rudely, Daniel wasn't going to. William Regal, a wrestling legend who was sitting nearby, stood up for Daniel Bryan and said to Ezekiel, "Do you even know who you're talking to? This man is like a son to me and has more talent in his little finger than you have in your entire body." Jackson walked away, and Daniel Bryan still ended up giving a seat to someone else. Two WWE wrestlers were able to beat the system in a clever way. When wrestlers get signed by WWE, the company will usually give them a unique name. One reason is so that WWE can trademark that name and give them exclusive rights over it. This is why most WWE wrestlers have to use a different name when they go to other companies. However, two former WWE wrestlers did something clever to get around this. The Ultimate Warrior and Ryback changed their legal names to their WWE names. James Bryan Hellwig became Warrior, and Ryan Allen Reeves became Ryback Allen Reeves. This allowed them to use their WWE name wherever they wanted, and they could sell it on their own merchandise. Have you ever wondered why John Cena will say this?
It's better than getting paid $1.
Stu is the man operating the camera during John Cena's entrances, and he's worked for WWE since the 90s. In fact, Stu has worked for WWE for so long that Wade Barrett had to use a different name backstage. Wade Barrett's real name is Stu also, and to avoid confusion with Stu the cameraman, Barrett was ordered not to be called Stu backstage. WWE has some weird rules that wrestlers must follow. For example, wrestlers aren't supposed to attend shows from rival companies, even if they are going just as fans. It was revealed that WWE wrestlers weren't allowed to attend the All In show in 2018. In a very infamous incident, a wrestler got in big trouble for attending a non-WWE event. In 2008, one half of the Highlanders, Robbie McAllister, was at a TNA show. The TV crew saw him and decided to show McAllister on camera. Immediately, Robbie got calls from WWE ordering him to leave. When he returned to the hotel he was staying at, McAllister was confronted by The Undertaker and Finlay, who were mad at him and criticized Robbie for attending the rival company's show. McAllister and his tag team partner Rory would later be released from WWE a few months later. There was a WWE production glitch that made a very creepy prediction. At WrestleMania 31, Seth Rollins cashed in his Money in the Bank contract to win the WWE Championship. As he was celebrating, the logo for Survivor Series randomly flashed on the LED board. No other pay-per-view logos were shown, so this was really odd. Months later, in November 2015, Seth Rollins would sadly injure his knee during a match. Seth was forced to vacate the title, and a new champion just so happened to be crowned at Survivor Series. It's as if the flickering logo at WrestleMania was a dark foreshadowing of what was to come. A wrestler once died and still wrestled the same day. While driving to a show in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, WWE and ECW wrestler The Sandman overdosed on an opioid called Nubang, which killed him. The wrestlers that he was driving with pretended not to know him and dropped Sandman off at a nearby hospital. The medical staff shot adrenaline into Sandman's heart, which thankfully brought him back to life. The Sandman still made the show and wrestled as if he hadn't died earlier that day.
What the
Big Show and the Great Khali once got into a real fight backstage. The two giants had issues with each other for a while, but things got heated during a match in Puerto Rico. During the show, Khali gave his opponent a huge chop across the chest, which was Big Show's signature move. After the match, Big Show confronted Khali backstage about using his move. They got into an argument, leading to Big Show punching Khali in the face. The Indian native fought back, and soon a real fight between the WWE wrestlers broke out. In the chaos, Big Show tripped over a chair and fell to the ground. Khali stood on top of him, and the fight came to an end. Big Show was later forced to apologize for throwing the first punch, which the Great Khali accepted. WWE paid Dean Ambrose a ridiculously low amount of money for his final match. In April 2019, WWE held a special event called the Shield's Final Chapter. In the main event, Ambrose teamed with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns one final time. Despite this being a pretty big match, Ambrose was only paid $500. To put it in perspective, that's the same amount of money wrestlers will make just to show up at a WWE event. If you look at WWE wrestlers' chests, they appear to separate and leave a larger and larger gap as they continue to wrestle. Why is this? Part of it is due to all the abuse wrestlers take over the years, but there's more to it. For example, Kofi Kingston has a genetic issue where his pectoral muscles connect from the sides of his sternum, rather than the center. This, and all the punishment his body has taken over the years, has caused his chest to separate. Scott Steiner is another wrestler with a noticeable gap in his pectoral muscles. This was partially due to a bad accident Steiner suffered in the ring. While wrestling a match, Scott Steiner got kicked in the throat, which caused internal bleeding. Surgeons had to cut part of his chest, but this left a large gap in between Scott Steiner's pectoral muscles.
Oh my god, this is my doorbell just went off. What was I gonna say? Damn, I forgot. Oh, imagine like, you know, as a kid saying like when you grow up you want to be like a famous wrestler. You watch your favorite wrestler on TV, you know what I'm saying? You watching Stone Cold, you watching The Rock, you watching Undertaker, you know, all the greats and stuff, you know. And you finally get the opportunity to become a wrestler and you can't even afford to go to the shows. You can't afford your room, you can't afford your car, you can't afford food while you away. You can't afford to do nothing and you have to quit. That is really freaking sad. Now, I've never thought about that, but I thought at least just now, I thought maybe that some of those expenses were covered maybe under, you know what I'm saying, WWE, or I don't know. That's really sad though. To think about, like, damn, I this is my passion. This is something I dreamed about. This is something I always wanted to do, but I can't afford to do it. That is nuts. But damn, that makes me really sad. And then there was another thing too about the steroids thing. I didn't know that steroids can cause you to break out like that. That's weird. That's crazy. But yeah, I'm gonna end this video because my dog is barking. But I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. Bye.